Welcome back to Worldwide Rush. Welcome back to Brunswick, and welcome back to One Last Turn. I realized that in episode 1 of this series, albeit this probably being a limited series, I failed to set a clear goal for the series, and I think I'm sort of gonna stick with that decision in a way, because what I want to do is sort of leave the goal open-ended. I don't feel like being, okay, let's make 1 billion or 1 trillion or however much is sort of the regular kind of challenge to set yourself in this kind of game. I mean, we're only at 6 million company value, so we could say 1 billion or 100 billion or whatever, or we could say until a certain time, or until we have eliminated X amount of AIs or something like that. But I feel like with a game like this, there is gonna be a point where that where it just becomes a grind, sort of to get to that final part of the challenge. So I think I just want to leave it sort of open-ended and see where it takes us. Obviously, I want to create a vast empire, and I definitely at least want it to span every single continent on the globe. That is for sure going to be one of the goals, but I also don't necessarily just want to end it there, at least not before I have actually made it to that point. Maybe if we get it to that point and that sort of seems like, okay, this is a good place to end it, then we'll do that, but maybe we'll continue. I just haven't decided yet, and I think it's going to be a little more interesting this way. Then it's going to be open-ended both on mine and yours end. Anywho, last time we got started up in Denmark, my place of residence, and we have started thinking about, well, we are thinking about, or have decided to move down to Germany a bit. We do have routes from Aarhus and Copenhagen that goes to Brunswick, and right now we have a task to build a hub in Brunswick, and we feel like this could be a pretty good place to be. We also have a route from Aarhus to Amsterdam. Right now Amsterdam is occupied by Worldwide Logistics, but we are starting to get a bit of a foothold, and if we take over Brunswick, then we can also get traffic to Amsterdam and hopefully get a bit more trust in Amsterdam, and eventually we're gonna take that route over. Also, Germany is just a little bit closer. At this point, if you make a route, for example, Copenhagen to Paris, it's 1,000 kilometers. That's not a big deal for some of these planes, actually. They can go like, so the small one is 1,300, but the bigger one here from Nimbus at least is 2,000 kilometers. So how far would that actually get us? Could we get to Rome? We could. Can we get to Lisbon? We can't get to Lisbon. We can't get to Barcelona. Can we get down to Sicily? We can just barely get down to Palermo. Sorry. Syracuse is a no. Catania is also a no. How about Athens is a no. So there's definitely some European cities that we can't reach from Copenhagen with this current level of plane. And how about, can we even go to, let's say from Copenhagen, can we go to London? We can, sure, no issue. How about Reykjavik? We can't get to Reykjavik from Copenhagen, but we should be able to get there from Aarhus, I think. Just in case we wanna go into the United States, no matter where we are in Europe at this point. United States is going to be relatively infeasible. But getting down a little further down into Europe isn't going to hurt us. At least it'll allow us to move into Spain and Turkey and Greece and Italy and possibly the northern countries here in Africa. A little bit easier with the current technology, but maybe it won't be relevant. We'll have to see about that. Anywho, let's just get our hub here in the beginning, and we'll just start the game on regular speed. With this hub, we don't have that much money. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah, so with this hub, we don't have that much money. So there is a bonus. We could get a reward if we connect all destinations. Okay, yeah, so if we're able to, within this month, to get these destinations, Goslar and Hildesheim are both very close, so there should just be roads. Berlin is a bit further, but it's not that far. Let's just see about making some roads here. So Brunswick to, let's start with Goslar. That is, well, they're actually equally sized. I want to do roads. It's 40 kilometers. How many people? 45 a month. 22 currently waiting. Maybe we go with the bigger one here. It's the summit still, so we will get our company loyalty. Looks good. Let's build the roads. A relatively expensive road given the distance and also our subsidies, but oh well. I realized something last time, that our subsidies is actually decreased, so I'm not entirely sure why that is. I thought they would increase with this Pioneers thing, but maybe they are decreasing. I'm not sure. Maybe they're just decreasing over time or something like that. That could also be the case. And let's create that route. It's gonna be full going out, obviously, and hopefully, yeah, there's also a good demand going back to Brunswick. So this is gonna be a really nice and profitable route for us, hopefully. Should be full going back as well. Yep. Not entirely full on the second time around going back. Or sorry, going to Goslar, but it's full every time going from Goslar, or not. Well, maybe not anymore. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one. Maybe we have to downgrade the bus. For now, it is at least making money. Let's just throw down these two last. So see, is there demand in Hildesheim to go to Goslar? There's a little bit. I think we'll try with a smaller bus on this one. But the road, we'll throw it on the bus, but we'll get these last lines up and running. I would really like to get a train in here, but I don't think, no, we just don't have the money at this point. So we'll start out with the road. We also don't quite have the money for that road, so we'll have to speed up the game a little bit and just make sure that we don't sort of exceed the month. It's the road for us there. And that is the route. So here is the last couple of days in the first year. I actually don't remember if we started on January 1st. I don't think we did, but because I don't think we had that many months. I guess we'll have to see about that. But we'll get a grant for our connections in Gothenburg that we set up last time, and we'll get the bonus reward here from Brunswick as well. Very nice. We're not going to be able to do this. All Danish cities should prosper because we just don't have the capital to set up a hub in one of these cities. Namely, probably would have to be Kolding. And I don't just want to make a circular route. Also, there needs to be traffic from Esbjerg to Odense, and we couldn't do that with a circular route anyways, so we would have to do some kind of weird bus routes, and that just seems a little bit cheaty, so I'm gonna avoid that. Now, I did say also that we would be hiring a hub manager for Brunswick, and I think that will be the case a little bit later in this episode, once we have gotten a little bit of a foothold down here in Germany. It might also just be the case that we make Berlin a hub and then put our hub manager in there, so that it can sort of expand to more of Europe. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we want to do that part ourselves and then let the hub manager sort of handle Brunswick here, or possibly Hamburg. Oh no, we can't do Hamburg because there is a Agen Ferries is operating out of Hamburg. We'll have to sort of encroach in their territory at some point. Or maybe we'll do Lübeck instead. We'll have to see. Now, what is this plane doing? Amsterdam to Aalborg. So we don't own Aalborg, so we could sort of be in a bit of a bind in that Worldwide Logistics has set up that route. They do seem to have set it up primarily as a sort of filler. They probably for like Brunswick bound people or leftover people going Amsterdam or Aarhus. Not entirely sure, but it's probably some sort of countermeasure to our flight here that is no longer operating at that high of a efficiency, because the passengers are being handled by the company. So we should really get this Brunswick to Amsterdam connection up and running. That would be in our best interest. But let's first just take a little bit of a look what happened. New event, New Year's. Okay, so we still have increased tourism. We had Christmas last month and it's New Year's now. So that's decent. Cities has grown, both Roskilde and Gothenburg, so they have some new routes we have to take a look at. We want to fulfill Copenhagen demand. We should be able to get this one. It's just the last couple of percentages, so that should be fine. We do have some boats that aren't doing so hot. That's probably still the... Actually, it's the Aarhus Copenhagen boats, because we upgraded the capacity probably too much, so we'll have to take a look into that. And then there's the Aarhus passenger quota. This would be really nice if we could meet it, but yeah, I'm not sure how we actively do that. We can of course set up the route here to Stavanger, and there is room for more traffic to Brunswick. The plane just left and we still have 19 people waiting, so that's probably an easy fix. If we take a look at Brunswick and the route here, we already have 2 planes going. Maybe we do a third. they're doing 100,000 each, and there's more demand in Aarhus, and is there more demand in... There's no demand really in Brunswick, but it is full going back. But I want to try. Let's try and see if we can... First of all, let's try and see if upgrading this would make any sense. It's so expensive compared to just getting another one, so let's just get another one instead. Now, Copenhagen, actually, I want to get this Amsterdam route up first so we can get some more trust in Amsterdam. I think that is the better play. Not ships. We want to go with planes. We want to get a Nimbus, smaller Nimbus, because we don't have that many passengers wanting to go. But they are currently doing Amsterdam to Brunswick via bus, so making this plane ride is going to be a lot more interesting for the passengers. So let's just speed up the game a little bit here so we can slow down that plane. We can turn down to regular speed again, and then we can take a look at first of all, the Aarhus Copenhagen. It's running 67%, and this one is running 64%. So, I mean, ideally we'd sell one of these. Ideally this one that gets, that has more, that gets a little bit more money to us, and then we'll upgrade the other one. I think that is the play. What can we upgrade it to? There is the Roar. It's more than double capacity though, and we don't need double. I guess what we could do to sort of fill the requirements, now that we have reduced the capacity, we could throw in a one of these water taxis with half that capacity. I think that would sort of add up pretty well. So let's do that instead for that. And now let's focus on Copenhagen. Sorry. What aren't we fulfilling? That's the Aarhus one, actually. Okay, interesting. I think we should have fixed the capacity issue now, but I'm not sure. We have quite a few people indirectly wanting to travel to Gothenburg. There's not that much capacity left on the Copenhagen line though. A lot to Malmö. About Malmö to Gothenburg, not so much. But if we increase the line here, Gothenburg-Malmö, we are running 2 planes already. If we increase, and it's running at 90% efficiency, okay, yeah, so maybe we don't want to mess too much with that one. Still want to keep an eye on our Brunswick line here. It's running at 95%. That's good. They're all profitable, and it is more profitable than it was before it did the change, I'm pretty sure. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that one. How about our Amsterdam route? How is that doing? So we can see there is actually a direct path, and that's ours, and then there's an indirect path, and that is theirs. we seem to have made a pretty decent dent in their profits, and we're doing a decent amount of profits with our plane here. It seems to be running at full efficiency, so that's very nice indeed. So everything really is going pretty decently. Now this little explorer that we added, well, not added, we added the water taxi. So now this is again still not running well. It probably should have been spaced out a little better. There's not many people wanting to go to Aarhus. So maybe what happened is, and this is something you have to take into account a little bit, but you can't always just get completely perfect. I think we'll get rid of this little explorer, but basically the demand going from Copenhagen to Aarhus, or between these cities, has diminished quite a bit since some of these flights, because the easier route or faster route is to take connecting flights. And I think there is some aversion in connecting transits for the passengers, but I don't think, at least in this case, it doesn't seem to be that much, because we can take a look at our cities, and Aarhus doesn't really have any indirect passengers. Copenhagen does have quite a few. That's primarily Malmö. And most of the people wanting to go to Aarhus are actually coming from Roskilde. How's our... Anyways, there's a bit of a sidetrack here, I think. I would like to sort of get this demand under control, Copenhagen Aarhus. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure how to get it under control. What happens if we speed along a little bit here, and now this boat was coming in. Hardly any Aarhus passengers left, but why is the fulfillment then still not sort of being fulfilled? Is that because we do have some Aarhus passengers going to Gothenburg, but not many? So I'm really not sure how to increase the fulfillment here. I'm sure there's 6 people waiting, just only one direct. Maybe it happens, maybe this will update once we get to Aarhus. It's 100% on the Aarhus side. Right now it just keeps on falling here on the Copenhagen side. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to meet that one, but we are meeting the Aarhus passenger quota, which is really, really nice. Now we still have these buses. Oh, actually this is a new one. I wasn't expecting this line to be doing bad. Not a lot of people want to go from Brunswick. I guess it's just because it's such a small route that even with this limited capacity, the speed just takes care of all of these passengers without an issue. I don't think there's much we can do about that if we sort of wanna make sure that the requirements are fulfilled. So I think we just gotta eat that loss for now. The other one is the Aarhus Horsens line. There's still no people in Aarhus really want to go to Horsens, which sort of is what is driving the profitability down in that part. The passenger quota just dipping below in Aarhus. Let's set up a little Nimbus plane going to Stavanger. Hopefully that will grab the last couple of passengers that we need, and it should also be a fairly profitable route given that distance. And maybe Stavanger will be the entryway into Norway for us. That could definitely be the case. No idea what's going on with this route, but at least the new water taxi is turning a profit. The way that we restructured the route is turning a decent profit compared to having two ships both giving negative returns. So that is at least something, and we just... So now we have a lot of people wanting to go to Copenhagen from Aarhus. I think it's running at 90%. I think it'll hit 100 by the end of the month. Maybe not, because the month is ending right now. But I think like having capacity of 30 would be better, but there's no boats for that. We'll leave it at this for now and just sort of see how everything evolves from there. In Malmö we don't have a hub. I think our next hub, I want it to be Berlin though. Relatively central, a lot of places wanting to go there. Is it a bit boring though? I'm just gonna pause it here so the month doesn't slip away from us. Is it a bit boring to have Berlin? I mean, it is the capital in real life. It is a relatively big hub in real life. Wouldn't it be more interesting for a city like Brunswick to become that? I think it would, but I'm also not sure if it's possible. Now, I don't think anybody is gonna start encroaching on us if we don't pick it up. I don't think that's gonna happen. Anytime soon, at least. So maybe we go another route. Maybe we get... There isn't that many connections in Stavanger, but they're pretty sort of... There's a big demand, it seems. Sure, let's get Stavanger. And then we'll get a hub manager for this city. Now, the hub manager can have a goal. There's two possibilities. It can either maintain the routes that exist, so we build the routes and then it will sort of upgrade and downgrade the vehicles in a manner that maintains profitability and efficiency. Or we can set it to expand the city, which means that it will just start building routes that will be profitable and that will expand the city. It will fulfill sort of the city's demands and stuff like that. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And then I think we are just gonna build the first route ourselves. And this could easily be a ferry, I think. I'm not sure if a water taxi is enough, but that's what we can afford right now. So let's go with that. And if we head back into the city here and the manager, we're gonna have rails off for now. I don't think it makes sense to build rails here in Norway at this point in time. We can manage the funds. It has a budget and it has a payout. And the budget is the minimum amount of money that the manager will keep to himself before he starts paying out. I would like to hit 5 million, but that doesn't seem to be the case. There's probably some, I mean, there are like specific amounts, steps, and they're probably based on USDs. So this is probably around 5 million USD. We can also change, we can also do like specific payout amounts. I would have assumed that this would be cadence, but it is if we set it all the way here. So he will try and get 5 million, and then he will pay us every month with the leftover money. And he should spend money even though he doesn't meet the 5 million, so this should be fine. And if it's not the fine, I mean, it should be starting getting money from it should start getting money from the line we did, and now we just gave it the rest of our money, so it has something to start with. And we'll just check back eventually on Stavanger and Norway and see what the manager's up to. And the cool thing about this, in my opinion, is that then we can sort of focus on other areas of our empire while we're still expanding in sort of frontier places. That sort of, and it then doesn't require us to be all that jumping back and forth between too many hubs at once, because it does get a little bit, it can, like I said last time, it can become a bit much to sort of maybe not handle, but at least yeah, going between, it could be a little bit much, jumping from one to the other all the way, all the time. Anywho, okay, let's just pause the game here for a second, because I could have sworn that we should have gotten a big payout last month. Did I just miss the demand? Because I wasn't paying attention? I mean, that would be really silly. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but that would really suck. But it is how it is, I guess. If we take a look at our previous month, we are making like 5.1 million in income, which is really good. And expenses obviously is more, but if we take out the investments in vehicles, then we're actually 1 million positive there. And I'm thinking that's what's happening with the operating profits. That's sort of how it calculates some of that, at least. Maybe I'm not seeing too much other things, but we're making money at least is the important thing. And if we look at our routes, a lot of them are profitable, and then some of them are not profitable at all. What's going on with this Berlin route here? I mean, the demand isn't really being fulfilled, although there's no people. There's no people waiting. Oh, it's currently transferring passengers, but it's just only one person. And obviously there's no people wanting to come back from there. It is the smallest kind of capacity we can give it, so I think that's just gonna have to be the way it is. Now, we did have some city growth. It's only Brunswick, and Brunswick wants to go to London. Currently, there does exist indirect paths via Amsterdam that is solely operated by the Worldwide Logistics Company. I'm curious, where do they are pretty well up there, to be honest. So we're really gonna be competing with them, it seems. Now we gotta let the game run because we don't have any money. We are operating at our operating profits should overall be a positive, but we need some money coming in, some routes, some passengers transferring. That should happen, and we're in the positive now. Yeah, sure. We have to speed a little way through this. Okay. Got an achievement. We have some indirect traffic that we want to take a look at, but we have some money now, so we can look at our tasks. Really bummed that we didn't get that 500,000. That would have been nice. Worldwide Logistics, they're making like 1 million more in operating profits than us, which is a bummer. They do have a larger loan, but I don't think... I mean, obviously that does accelerate them a bit, but yeah. Anyway, let's see, where is our indirect traffic located? We can see it up here. We have quite a bit in Copenhagen. And we can see there's a limit, so it's not a problem right now so much. But it is a bit of a problem. And I mean, it also sort of wants us to get rid of it by giving us this grant if we add 3 more lines. And I think we're gonna start with having we already have a Gothenburg line, but there's so many people wanting to go that way because we only have one vehicle. Let's give it a try and throw in another one and see how that sort of ends up operating efficiency-wise and profit-wise. We were at about 100k before, so we'll check back with that in a little bit and see how that ends up going. Now we have a lot of people wanting to go to Brunswick as well. Not so many people wanting to come back from there, but we already have the line. Really don't understand how that mechanic works sometimes. It's not running at full efficiency, so I'm just not sure if upgrading it makes any sense. This is a new plane, is it? No, yeah, it is a new plane, right? Let me just take a look here. Yeah, it is a new plane from Nimbus. Costs 2 million, 19 passengers. So it'll be 1.6 million to get it. Estimated profits is a lot higher, but I mean, our estimated profits right now isn't being completely met. company loyalty, which is very nice. I think if we were to do anything, we would need to just buy another one. Then we have to upgrade Copenhagen as a hub. We have to do that anyway if we want to get more connections. What other kind of connections can we set up? I don't think we can. I mean, sure, it says there's no direct path to Zwickau and Greifswald and Odense and Aalborg and Szczecin. Sure, but there's no people here either. There's no people wanting to go to those cities. The only one we have is one indirectly wanting to go to London via Brunswick. So I just don't see the profitability in doing that. The only thing I can see with Copenhagen would be to throw down an additional plane here. And as it said, there's a lot of indirect traffic from Roskilde. They want to go to Brunswick. They also want to go to Gothenburg. And they're both using Copenhagen right now. So we probably need to throw in a hub in Roskilde and start getting some direct lines eventually. For now, I think we just gotta upgrade or throw in another plane. Let's speed up the game just so we can get the money for it. And that should fill up pretty nicely. What else do we have? Copenhagen, Malmö not being profitable with this little Explorer is interesting to me because it does run full in Copenhagen. Obviously it doesn't run full in Malmö. There's no desire to go back, so maybe that's the issue. But we have a lot of traffic wanting to go to Malmö. Also some coming from Roskilde, so I'm just not sure what makes sense here. Yeah, it'd be almost $1 million to throw down a bridge. Well, a road, but the bridge part is what's making it expensive. The alternative is we downgrade this one to a water taxi. Half the capacity and, well, more than half the capacity across the route, because the speed is also going to be reduced by like 30-something%. So it's like a 70% reduction in capacity. And since we are full coming from Copenhagen, sure what to do there. Now Gothenburg demand is fulfilled and Aarhus is not. Yeah, we can see last month with 87%, even though I thought we were at 100. And it's our Copenhagen route that isn't being fulfilled anymore. So we are essentially... Okay, so Aiken fares are starting to move upon Aarhus. Might have to set up a line going down to Kiel to sort of take care of that, but I don't think that Aiken ferries is that much of a worry right now. Yeah, they're pretty small compared to us, so I don't think they'll be overtaking us anytime soon. lot of direct passengers wanting to go, but we don't just. We also have a lot of people wanting to go back, I guess. So maybe we do upgrade this again, have a secondary water taxi. I'm not sure why this is fluctuating so much that we have to do this. Maybe I was changing them too early for the calculations to catch up or something like that. Oh, but we have to upgrade the hub here because it's... Is that Aarhus that doesn't have enough room anymore? Yes, Aarhus doesn't have enough room. I guess we could set up a route going the other way. Because we do have room in Copenhagen. I want to try and see how well that would work. If that makes a secondary route, I don't think it does. No, it doesn't make a secondary route. But we did buy the vehicle in Copenhagen, so we didn't have to pay that premium. The vehicle belongs to Copenhagen. So that's something interesting to note, actually, that we can do that with hubs in both ends. Now Gothenburg is falling a little bit out of its demand fulfillment. We only really have people wanting to go to Copenhagen. Do we still have people in Copenhagen want to go? Yeah, plenty of people in Copenhagen wanting to go to Gothenburg. So we could probably throw in one more plane without any issue. Obviously we need the money, so let's see if we can get that before the month ends. We can. Now, I just want to see this route here. Primarily because I wanted to show you something. There's an inventory for vehicles. It resets every month. So this month there's only 4, well, last month now, there was only 4 Nimbuses that we could buy. We bought them all. The inventory increases this month, usually because of that. It may decrease as well if we don't buy any. But that is something to take into account as well. You can maybe just expand exactly how you want to all the time. Now, did we get a grant this time around? So that is at least nice. A direct flight between Aalborg and Copenhagen wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Do we have people in Copenhagen who want to go to Aalborg? We don't. There's a lot of people in Aalborg wanting to go to Copenhagen. There's also a lot of people wanting to go to Herning. Is there more people in Herning wanting to go to Aarhus? There is. So maybe we start this month with upgrading the buses that run on this line here. Let's go for just getting 2 bigger buses instead of adding more, and we can add more if we see that demand. Copenhagen and Gothenburg are both 4 stars now, which means they should have gotten an additional city, and I think that the one from Copenhagen is Gothenburg. I don't think there was a direct passenger want or need for that. that. And Gothenburg wants to start expanding into Stockholm, which is nice. We do want to do that. I would really like a train line from Gothenburg through the cities here and up to Stockholm eventually, but that is probably gonna be pretty expensive. Yeah, it's about 5 million. How about if we just expand the road network? Up there is still 1.4 million, so at this point we're probably better off doing so by a plane. Let's take a look at Stavanger here. It has set up, it has torn down the manager here has torn down our route. From Stavanger to Bergen, and instead replaced it with a plane going from Stavanger to Ålesund. And I mean, that is completely his prerogative, I guess. He can do whatever he wants. So if he thinks that's more, that makes better sense, then sure, go for it. We don't have the money to expand into Stockholm yet. How is our trust in Amsterdam? It's not good. It's not good. I'm gonna have a hard time taking that over. Our direct flight is making money, but interesting that it chose to display it like that. Here, like, it's not making much money. Maybe they're just doing so on different time frames. Yeah, so on this time frame it's doing really well. Aarhus, Brunswick, very nice. Copenhagen, Brunswick, nice. Copenhagen, Gothenburg is interesting. They're not making so much money. They are flying full every single time. We're still at a level 4, so I don't think we can start buying anything yet. No, we need level 5 for that. We can do stuff in Aarhus. We can start building stuff to, like a fuel depot, to reduce our operating cost. We can't do that in either Aarhus or Gothenburg, so we're gonna hold off there. I think ideally we'd make a hub in Aalborg and make a direct line that way, but don't have the money for that right now, so I think we'll just throw down a... I wonder if a ship or a plane is gonna be better. It's 230 kilometers or 20 kilometers with a plane, 273 with a boat. The journey time is going to be 10 hours, almost 11 hours. If we do planes, then it's down to 4 hours. It's like 150 something % faster. It's more expensive. I think we go with the ship for now and just sort of see how... sure, we're not gonna get the bonus because I don't think we'll be able to take care of all the passengers. Especially there won't be any in Copenhagen, so it'll take some time before it gets up there in any way. Yeah, so that is not gonna happen. We are gonna just get the grand, and then we'll see the profitability of the line, and if there's anything we need to change, if it needs to be a plane, if it needs to be something else. Next up, whoops, and I should just start the simulation again. How well are we doing for this? Last month we did 3,200 passengers. Okay, that is pretty decent. So probably in a couple of months we will hit provincial pioneers. How are we doing up here? There's still only that line, only that plane. I think maybe he just doesn't have enough money, so I am just gonna give him all of my money. Yeah, so he did get he did set up that route that he took down, the Stavanger-Bergen one. And hopefully this is a bit easier for him to handle this amount of money. It makes sense that there is sort of like a starting capital needed for these hub managers to reach critical mass, and maybe we did get a hub manager too soon before we were able to sort of provide that critical mass. That is definitely a possibility. Yeah, but what I want to do is I want to get Gothenburg to Stockholm, fulfill that demand, but also just because Stockholm is a nice place to be, I think. How is the demand from Stockholm? It's not there. A lot of people want to get to Stockholm. Stockholm doesn't want to go that many places though. So I think we're just gonna go with a small Nimbus plane as usual. It is starting to become rather expensive. Oh, I guess that's because we need a 200,000 euro upgrade in Gothenburg in order to have the correct amount, since we already have 8 vehicles, have a lot of planes, and a singular bus. But I think all in all we are doing pretty good at this point. Almost all of our routes are profitable. Wasn't expecting this Copenhagen-Aalborg one to be profitable, so that's fine. Brunswick-Hildesheim is a bit of still a bit of an issue, so to speak. Demand for Amsterdam is quite high. We could probably throw in another plane, because right now that's just being sort of... When they started flying planes from Brunswick to London, or the other way around, that is quite annoying. They're basically taking this entire, or they're fulfilling this demand we have and sort of undermining us there. So maybe we let Stockholm wait a bit, or maybe we are at a point. If we take a look here, we're in 5th place. We're like, logistics are starting to sort of encroach on us a bit. They have almost twice the loan we have. So if we loan a bit of money just to sort of help ourselves combat them a little bit, I don't think that would be too bad. So we're gonna clear this. We're gonna do Brunswick to London. We're gonna do the Nimbus. don't have the money. I think we borrow some. Borrow a bit, upgrade our routes a bit. Get that Gothenburg, Stockholm one, just so we aren't just sitting around and waiting all of the time. How's the demand in Gothenburg to go to Stockholm? It's the 7 people, so it's not like we need a big plane. So let's just go with the Nimbus as usual. Pretty expensive. We could take a look at this though and see how many more people to Copenhagen. About 30. How about to Gothenburg? Not many people. There's 40 people waiting. They're mainly coming from Malmö. Okay. How's the Malmö fulfillment? Not so many that way. Not so many that way because they're all sitting in Copenhagen. What I'm thinking is I want to try and upgrade one of our planes. They're all full all the time. We just pause this one. This one is currently transferring passengers. Let's just do this one down here because it still has more time. So that's this one. If we upgrade this one, a lot more capacity on the line. Don't have the money right now, but I'm interested sort of to see what it would do. How well it would do. And also if getting tier 2 planes is, well, first of all, if it's worth it. Maybe for the Copenhagen-Gothenburg that doesn't make sense. Maybe we do it for the Brunswick route. Instead, we currently have 2 planes running there. We have Aarhus to Brunswick as well. Aarhus to Brunswick. Okay, so let's just find that in the map over here. Aarhus to Brunswick. It's running 3 planes. Let's bring in 400k. Is how much demand is there? There's 19 people currently waiting. One guy is about to come into the and grab half of that, and then it's gonna be a while until somebody arrives. So if you take this plane, we upgrade it. We just gotta borrow a little bit more money. We're still under global worldwide logistics there, so I'm not don't think it's too much of a stretch. Which one? This one I wanted to do. So let's upgrade this one and see how well that changes things. It's currently making 121,000. And in total, the line together is making 400,000. So let's see what that does to everything. And then let's just start the game up again. We have a direct line to London and some of those wants to go to Paris, it seems. Is that it's not a domain we have directly from Brunswick. They are just, okay, so it seems that Eastern Fleet, here based in Paris, have set up a line to Brunswick. So maybe we want to get in on that. They are gaining a bit of trust, but we still have the vast majority, so not too worried there. And with 2 planes for Amsterdam, we should hopefully get a little bit closer to fulfilling our demand. Hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more trust. In Amsterdam. I would want to take this over at some point. At least 55% trust in the city. We're at 9. So it is gonna be rough. They have a lot of demand for Baden-Baden. Is the demand in Baden? It's not really demand in Baden-Baden to go back that way. Do we have people in Brunswick wanting to go to Baden-Baden? We don't, because there's no route. I think that worldwide logistics route for this is a bus route. Yeah, it is a bus route. It's very long. It takes a lot of time. So if we get a plane down to Stuttgart, set up a hub there, then maybe people would want to go Amsterdam to Brunswick to Stuttgart and then to Baden-Baden. And we could sort of erode them a bit more. But I'm not sure if there's... It's gonna be expensive, right, to set up this line. I mean, we can just throw in a singular plane. I don't think getting further into Germany is a bad thing, though. So getting this hub could be considered pretty nice. There's no way we're hitting this quota, there's no way we're hitting this bonus. But we do have this line and it does seem to be making profit on Copenhagen, so that's pretty neat. We even have some people going from Aarhus to Aalborg in order to go to Copenhagen because we don't have that much capacity on our Aarhus-Copenhagen one. Now we're running 2 water taxis. They're both profitable. We still have more people wanting to go from Aarhus to Copenhagen. I don't get it. Because when we had just the better one, it wasn't making profit at all. Maybe it's because of the better one was more costly, like per passenger, and it was running empty more often. That could totally be the case. It is going bad. There is Roskilde people wanting to go to Aarhus, so it does go back somewhat satisfied. I'm not sure if one more would do us any good. How is our Copenhagen-Jönköping? The line does really well. We could potentially add an additional plane, but right now there's like very little demand going the other way, so it's probably not going to be profitable. We are meeting the passenger quota in Brunswick all of a sudden. Interesting. I would not have expected that, but I guess the Amsterdam planes are sort of doing a lot for us there. Getting that secondary plane helped out a ton. Aarhus Brunswick is making a bit more money with this transporter plane. Compared to how expensive it was, it would have made more sense to just get another Nimbus, so we'll just write that behind our ear for now. We don't have the... I mean, maybe we could replace these other two with a transporter as well, and then it would sort of balance out more in regards to that. Or maybe it's because the month isn't like fully utilized at this point yet. Who's to say? It has probably only made a few round trips. Right, so this was the capacity or amount of passengers it was doing the last couple of months, around 60. Now it's around 80, which is only a 50% increase, even though the actual capacity increase is over 100%, and travel speed is also faster, so this should be much closer to like 130 probably for a full month, so maybe there's still some money to be made when we go for a full month. There's still a couple days left for the month, and then in the next month it should be a lot more fulfilled. Aarhus and Gothenburg. Has a little Explorer that's making a decent chunk of money. That's good. Still more people in Gothenburg wanting to get out of there, but I think most of the indirect traffic is taking over there. Who is going from where? It's people from Copenhagen. Because probably again because the traffic here, Aarhus, Copenhagen isn't good enough. Just really surprised because it wasn't worth it earlier. But I guess... Okay, this is interesting. Why would they go to Copenhagen to Brunswick via Copenhagen when there's the direct flight? I guess we have two still aren't fulfilling it properly. Interesting. One other thing to note is there's this route here from Kiel to Aarhus. That Aiken Ferries is operating, and it's operating at quite a margin, it seems. I wonder if we should set up a... Maybe it's time we start moving a bit more into the rest of Denmark and Germany. And throw that hub into Kolding as we were talking about. I think that makes sense. We want a route from Kolding to Esbjerg for sure. It's just gonna be a small little Ortler. Build the road, and we will throw down that guy. We also want to go Herning. So let's get another guy. And we are a little bit short of money, so we'll wait for the month to... Oh, I did not mean to do that. Can I undo? Why did it throw the road in there? I want it to be a direct connection. But I guess this does allow Aarhus to get to Kolding. Not sure if that's necessary though. The route just didn't get done, so let's just throw in a bus there as well. We got a bit of balance here. We got a lot of grants. Very nice. We like seeing that. We want more connections into Aarhus. Okay. Currently has 17. It is a big hub. A lot of people wants to go to Aarhus. Very nice indeed. We like that. I just want to take a look at our routes here. Not sure if I can sort. We can sort by route, and then we get all the Aarhus ones here. How much money are we making on these? These are some of our more profitable lines. So maybe it does make sense to invest a little bit in the city. But a fuel depot is quite expensive, so maybe we're just not there yet. That's fine. We have the grant for all cities should prosper again in Denmark, and that is what we're going to be focusing on for the rest of this episode. I'm not sure we can make it in time, but we'll see. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to get in many more routes to Aarhus here, but we can probably throw down one to... Actually, I'm not sure if we can get all the way from Aarhus to St. Petersburg. Okay, we can. It's 1.2 or 1. It's 1,200 kilometers. All of our planes can handle that, so that shouldn't be an issue. But we want to do all cities should prosper, and that means that Kolding needs to be connected to Odense. Now, if we just throw one of these bigger buses on, we need to build a road worth $1 million. The journey time would be an hour and a half. I didn't need to do that actually. What if we instead use a ship? Just a regular old water taxi. It's not that longer of a journey. So I think the overall capacity on the line is going to be the same. Alternatively, we could throw down the little Explorer. It is a different company. We have a couple of them already though. That's interesting. Now, why would the journey time increase? Okay, yeah, so something was off on the calculation there. For sure. Journey time is 6 hours with this bus here. Sorry, this water taxi. What if we fly? It's 3 hours. So flying is actually probably better at this point. No, but the capacity doesn't quite match. So this would be 8 people every 3 hours, and with the water taxi it would be 20 people every 4 hours. That's better. And the Petite Voyager, sorry, the Little Explorer would be 40 people every 4 hours. Okay, so this calculation is a bit weird. So this would be, so compared, this would be 20 people every 6 hours. So compared to the water taxi, the plane is, it's a faster route, slightly less capacity, so it's pretty comparable. Cheaper to go for the water taxi though. Let's throw one in and just see how it goes. We somehow got 3 more connections into Aarhus. That's probably some of the AI setting up routes. We have to keep an eye on indirect traffic at some point. Wait, we have a Aarhus Amsterdam plane, right? We do. We do, because they had one, so we had to set up one as well. So Global Western is doing this route here, St. Petersburg, Aarhus, which sort of makes me want to do it as well, just so we don't have an issue there. We didn't select a vehicle, we gotta get a plane. We'll just use the Nimbus. Always has to get upgraded. It probably has to do that no matter what. It's quite expensive. We're not gonna make so much on it. So maybe we'll wait with that. Can we quickly upgrade the Gothenburg? Is there any of the lines? Copenhagen. I wanted to go to Florence now. So new event, King's Day and Easter. Okay. Wonder if what they stack upon. Nothing it seems for us. Amsterdam is increased because of that. It's interesting. Okay. No, let's get back to this. All cities should prosper. It is the most rewarding grant. Esbjerg needs to go to Flensburg. We don't have a hub there. So let's create a... let's clear this. Do calling to Flensburg. And then they will... just go through there. Now, this is gonna run empty until people from Esbjerg is gonna go to Kolding in order to pick up the slack there. I'm not sure. What does this mean? Oh, so there's some new connections happening because low demand fulfillment, but it's not in any of our cities. Speaking of Norway, how is our guy doing up here? He's got himself another water taxi. It's pretty decent, I guess. I was sort of expecting for this to go faster, but I guess it is a pretty sparse countries, not so many cities close together, so it will be probably not many shorter routes at least. But yeah, what I was saying down here is I'm not sure whether or not point-to-point routes are better than full routes. So that is definitely something that probably, I don't know if I need to test it or what, but at least need to keep that in mind, and maybe full routes will alleviate some indirect traffic. Right now we have a lot of indirect traffic in Kolding, primarily heading for Odense. It's Esbjerg that wants to be fulfilled there. So we probably want to get an additional... what's a boat? Do we really need to upgrade the hub already? Oh yeah, I guess 4 is the max. Okay. So that should take care of that demand. Esbjerg should be fulfilled, and then who are we missing? It's Herning. It should be fulfilled. This one is just not completely fulfilled. So that is what we hopefully were able to get. How does our route look? If we look at, we have Kolding to Esbjerg, we have Kolding to Herning, we have Kolding to, so a lot of point to point. There could be a route that goes Kolding to Esbjerg to Herning and then back. That's sort of what is happening, but maybe that would help some people, but maybe not, because in Herning it would fill up, and then when it reaches Esbjerg there won't be any more people, and then it goes to, yeah, so I think actually the red route that skips the cities makes sense. The question is just whether or not we have enough, so to speak. Now you're running Aalborg and Amsterdam as well. I didn't even notice that that city had upgraded to include Amsterdam. And this is what I've been saying about these managers, right? Hub managers. They get sort of... They get... what's it called? They help with this. We have a lot of cities upgraded, a lot of new destinations, and we haven't even looked at most of them, right? And some of them are already being fulfilled, but it's happening by other companies. We can go for this one now. Oh, St. Petersburg. Now that we set up the other ones, and I'd like to do the Aalborg Amsterdam as well. We want to get as much into Amsterdam as we can, pretty much. Oh, a million to upgrade the Aalborg hub? That's... Whoops. Oh, because we don't have it as a hub. Of course. That makes a lot of sense then. Yeah, we're gonna leave that for now. I had completely forgotten about that part. People in Roskilde wants to go to... This is not a hub for us either, but it does create indirect traffic on some of our places. Now, people do want to go to Florence from Copenhagen. This Flensburg to Kolding is sort of going... It's interesting because it says there's no people. But maybe that's because the route isn't direct. not sure. Because we have a lot of people wanting to go just handing Aalborg. Neither of those are hubs though, so maybe we do get this hub here in Aalborg. Or maybe it isn't such a big a deal, maybe we just upgrade this route a bit. It's this one also heading Aalborg. Let's throw down another bus here and just make sure that once this one gets in, it can also get passengers. Yeah, there was plenty of passengers for that, so that should be fine. I'm not sure how I can get the fulfillment up on the rest of these cities here. A lot of indirect traffic here in Kolding. Okay, so I'm just thinking, can I actually make a route that starts in Esbjerg, goes through Kolding, and then goes here? I'm wondering. Oh, new bus. Interesting. Interesting. But it does seem to allow me to do that, and then it's just going to use Kolding as a hub. So maybe we create. Like, I can't do this because then I have to buy the hub. But if I go buy a hub, but if I go through here, I can do it. Maybe we create this one instead of this Kolding Flensburg route. Not sure if that's gonna help. Just want to let it get into the city here. Then we can delete it. So we have a direct Esbjerg Kolding for transferring to Odense. And then we have a Kolding, Flensburg Kolding Esbjerg route. It's just Esbjerg Kolding. Flensburg is currently going to Kolding. Didn't seem to help all that much. Herning still has some Kolding issues. We do have a direct route there, right? Kolding Herning, we do. It's running at, like, it's not running at full capacity whatsoever, so I'm not sure how we could sort of make that one better. This is quite disappointing, really. I had hoped that we'd be able to get this grant money. It doesn't really seem like it. I just sort of have to admit that maybe I'm not quite sure how these fulfillments calculated because there's no people waiting. Like here in Gothenburg for Stockholm, there's no people waiting. And the plane is flying empty. So how isn't it being fulfilled 100%? That just makes zero sense to me. And it's not like they're taking any other paths because nobody else is operating in Sweden either. And as far as I know, it's not like there's a that apparent like queuing system in the airport that's causing it to sort of not be what's it called? Like, so this one's not being filled because all the capacity in the airport is going to another plane. That's not a thing either. So, I mean, this route is just losing us a ton of money. Maybe it's sort of related to the efficiency. Like we're trying too hard. That might be the case. Either way, the route is completely unprofitable, so I'm gonna get rid of it here. Get rid of that plane, and we'll just have some unfulfilled demand, and we'll have to deal with that. We're not gonna be able to do this one. That could be maybe the case of what is happening here as well. We're overdoing it. We can't do slower demand. I mean, you know, we can't. There's just no way to do that. Not sure what this... It is like sort of a profitability thing, right? These pay more than these do. I don't think it has anything to do with the happiness or the fulfillment. Now we're even lower because again, what's going on? There's no people, but there's too much traffic to Esbjerg, so maybe we get rid of the direct connection, so we only have the Flensburg one, and then people in Esbjerg that wants to go to Odense, they will also catch that bus. So we didn't make it. But I'm a little bit interested to see if this changes at all. Still coming up, but the reward is less now. So this does seem to be more. Yeah, so that does bring the fulfillment up. Not really for this one. Now there's a bunch of people who wants to go to Esbjerg. Of course there is. Yeah, so not quite sure how we're gonna fix that at the current time, because it seems like we're using the smallest buses we can. So it's not like we can just have a tiny one that just goes back and forth here and alleviates the pressure. Maybe it is better that the Kolding one is fulfilled than the Esbjerg is, because then it can sort of upgrade and become a little bit of a bigger hub. Anyways, I'm gonna pause the game, just see. Okay, so we got Ramadan. I'm assuming that means that connections going to Muslim countries are more has more tourism. It wants us to build a new hub in Leipzig. There's demand for Copenhagen, so it could make sense in that regard. Other than that, it doesn't make much sense. So I think I'm probably gonna skip it. I'm not entirely sure. Copenhagen to Florence is now a Stavanger, because I didn't end up setting up that Florence flight. No, I did not. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna pause the game here. We are still in the top 5 of comedy value. We're closing in on worldwide logistics, actually. That is quite nice. We were a lot longer behind them earlier, so very pleased with that. And our loan is a little bit smaller, so that's nice. Most of our routes are profitable. There's some profitability issues in Brunswick with sort of the demand it has. But that's fine. This has been this is the episode. I'm gonna stop here just before it gets way too long. We are already about 15 minutes over our regular time, so I do apologize for that. But we did get our set into Brunswick. We didn't get it expanded quite as much as I would like, but I mean, it is a level 5 hub, and that is on par with Copenhagen. And Aarhus is still our biggest one at a level 6, but that is pretty nice. We are encroaching a bit on Amsterdam. We did get a flight set up for London as well, sort of trying to counter worldwide logistics here, and that's gonna keep on happening, presumably. We wanna expand more into Germany. I'm not sure Leipzig is the way to go for that. It's very close to Brunswick. I'd much rather go down towards Austria, also because Brunswick has a requirement for Salzburg. So maybe we'll set up a hub in Munich, or maybe we'll set up a hub in Salzburg, or maybe we'll set up a hub in both. We will at least be expanding into new territory. It doesn't seem like anybody is here in Austria, Czechia, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Slovenia, this sort of area here of Europe. So maybe we'll make our way into here and expand our presence throughout Europe. But that's all for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a like and a comment, and subscribe, of course, so you can follow along with this series and any other series that I'm running on this channel. Of course, if you have any critiques or any questions, feel free to leave a comment as well. Any sort of interaction will be greatly appreciated. It really helps out the channel and me. So yeah, thank you so much. And of course, as always, I wish we could have just one last turn. But that's gonna have to wait until next time, and I'll see you then. Bye.